Go ahead.
Multiply.
Okay, so now that we've gone over Polya's method and we know the 4 steps, we're going to go ahead and do some examples using this method. So our first example reads, one number is 3 less than another number. If the sum of the two numbers is 177, find each number. So our first step is to make sure we read the question carefully and several times to understand the problem. So we're going to read it again. One number is 3 less than another number. If the sum of the two numbers is 177, find each number. So we know that we're looking for two different numbers. So let's say that, let's label our first number as x. So the first number we're trying to find is labeled as x. We know that the second number is 3 less than the first number. So our second number will be whatever this number is, x minus 3 will give us our second number. So once we already understood the problem, so we're going to move on and devise a plan. So the sum of the two numbers is 177, so we know that much. And we know that we're going to have to subtract 3 from the first number and add those two numbers together. So now we're going to solve for x. So we have 2x minus 3 gives us 177, and follow solving for x. So 177 plus 3 gives us 180, and we divide by 2. Solving for x, our first number is 90. So this number here is 90. So we know the first number. Now that we know that it says that one number is 3 less than the other number. So here's our first number. So 90 minus 3 gives us 87. So our second number is 87. Here are our two numbers. Now for the fourth step, we have to look back and check. So now let's add 90 plus 87 to see if that gives us 177, which it does. So our two numbers are 90 and 87. So that was our first example. Our second example, let me erase this so we can go over the second example. Okay, our second example reads, a math class has 30 students. Approximately 70% passed their math test. How many students passed their math test? So let's reread the question carefully and understand the problem. What are we trying to find? So it says a math class has 30 students. So we know we have 30 students. Approximately 70% passed their test. How many passed their test? So we need to find the number of students that passed their test. Now let's devise a plan. We need to find a number that is 70% of the 30 students that we have. So let's label that number as x. To find that number, we're going to have to turn the 70% into a decimal. So we carry over the percentage to make it 0.70, and we're going to multiply it by the 30 students. Now once we solve that and multiply these two together, it gives us 21. So x is 21. So 21 is 70% of 30. So we look back and check, and a total of 21 students passed their exam. Now for the last example, we have another word problem, and this one has to do with tax. So the problem reads, I purchased a new TV at a local store for $541.25. This included the tax. If the tax rate is 8.25%, find the price of the TV before they added tax. So let's reread the question and understand the problem. A TV was purchased at a local store for $541, and 25 cents. That is already including tax. If the tax rate is 8.25%, find the price before they added the tax. So what we're trying to find is the price of the TV before any tax was added. So the problem we're going to use, we don't know what the total of the TV was before they added the tax. So we're gonna label that as X. We know that the tax is 8.25%. So we're going to carry over the decimal and make it 0.0825. And we know that the TV was $541 with 25 cents. So now we're going to combine like terms and solve for X. And we have 1.0825 X divide by that number. And X gives us 500. So now we look back and check before they added any tax, the total was of the TV was $500. And now we're gonna pass out an activity, or Ms. Gonzalez is gonna come up here and go over the activity that you guys will be working on. So Ms. Gonzalez.
Okay guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and hand out a worksheet and you guys are gonna have about 15 minutes to work on it. I'm gonna write the first example on the board, we're gonna go over it, and then you're gonna work on the rest on your own, okay? Okay, so the problem reads that Anna wants a new car. The total cost of the car is $26,000, but the salesman is going to give her a 10% discount. So what will the cost be of the new car? So for our first step, we have to understand exactly what the problem is asking, what we're looking for. We're looking for the cost of the new car. Step 2, we're going to devise a plan. We're looking for a number that is 10% of 26,000. For step 3, we're going to solve our problem. Okay, we know that we're looking for 10% of 26,000, so we're going to let X be 10%. When we multiply this, we get 2,600. So we know that X is 2,600. we look back and check our problem and we multiply, we know that 2,600 is 10% of 26,000. And now Ms. Castillo is going to come up. You guys have 15 minutes to work out your problems, and then Ms. Castillo is going to come up and do the rest of them with you.
Now that you've completed your 10 minutes on your worksheet, the first problem we're doing is find 45% of 125. So step one is understanding the problem. We're looking at 45% of 125. So to make this a decimal point so you can figure out your answer, you're gonna move this over 2 spaces and put a decimal here. That'll make it so you can multiply your numbers. Now to get this into finding x, which will be your what is the percentage, you're going to do multiply 0.45 times 125 and you guys have worked this out already, but when you get your answer, you carry out your prime and you got your answer should be 556.25. Now, the way we look back and check is we're going to enter this into here and see if when we multiply these two numbers, you get 56.25. And what we get is 56.25 is 45% of 125. That's your final answer. And we have one more problem. Now, some of your parents probably have rented something from a store, like maybe a refrigerator or stove, and they have to pay interest on the item that they're renting. So for a year, we're going to figure out how much if an item such as a refrigerator costs $2,000 for 1 year, how much interest have they had to pay in that year? Will they have to pay for that year? So if their interest rate is, let's say, 8%, and they have to pay, let's say, $12,000 for the year, what have they had to pay? So to get this to where you can get a decimal, to get where you can get an answer, your x is the interest, the amount of interest you're going to get for that year. So you're moving this over 2 spaces, so you can multiply. So you're multiplying 0.08 times 12,000 X equals 960. So 8% of 12,000 is 960. So your interest for the year was $960. Of interest. One year. There we go. This is your last problem. Thank you. Then they got your understand the we got to understand the problem by going over what the percentage is. And we devised a plan by figuring out what we're trying to figure out, which is X, because we're trying to figure out how much the interest is. And then we're solving the problem by multiplying our two numbers. And then we're looking back by remembering what we're trying to figure out at the end.
Okay guys, so just to recap what we did today, we went over Polya's method, and as you guys already wrote down in your notebooks, I'm sure, the steps, I'm just gonna go over them one more time. So remember, when you were trying to solve a problem, to first understand the problem, reread it if you have to, and understand what you're really trying to solve. Then you'll devise a plan, come up with a solution, or figure out how you're going to solve the problem. Then it'll lead you to step number 3, where you actually solve the problem, and once you find the answer, you just look back and check. So, thank you guys.